Mutahar released this video at like 1 in the morning last night. I believe that this is his true response in comparison to what he released over here in this video. So let's take a look at what he has to say. I know he's not going to mention anything about engineering, and if he does, I'd be surprised.
Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mutahar, and ladies and gentlemen, I got some late night thoughts. You ever try to fall asleep and insomnia kind of flashbangs you, and you're just completely awake? Well, that's...
He's still claiming insomnia, by the way. One of the biggest criticisms that I gave in result to Mutahar lying about being employed and lying about having a busy schedule is, how can somebody that has insomnia, gets very little sleep, have the energy to make videos work and do all of these things on a regular basis? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Where we're at. Thank God, no sleep paralysis. Now, I wanted to kind of talk about some stuff here. I just wanted to kind of talk with the community, if you will, talk with the people watching. I usually hate these kind of videos because, generally speaking, I should just upload and move on and sort of do my stuff. But, I was watching some older videos of mine, and, to be fair with you, it's sometimes ideal to just kind of course correct a little bit. Now, one thing I want to start off...
It's ideal to kind of course correct a little bit. Interesting. Marathon Goon Sesh is probably... Like, I have no doubt in my mind that this guy is like a porn addict of some kind. I have no doubt in my mind that this guy has like some sort of unhealthy relationship with porn.
By saying is, people on the internet have burnout. And to an extent, I would say that there is some level of burnout that occurs. And
there is some level of burnout that occurs. This only happening 2 weeks after you've been exposed by Nikanjos as being a non-credible loser that can no longer talk about heavy, in-depth situations because, as it turns out, you're just a layman like the rest of us. You're a moron like the rest of us. And sometimes your takes aren't rooted in reality or aren't rooted in like a legitimate understanding of things, just like the rest of us.
Not just because, I upload, videos around daily. Something that, I've kind of been doing, and I'm sure some people have noted for the last couple years, is that obviously the content that I've made is not so much diversified. I was watching videos from 2019, 2020, and some of them were wild, okay? You got videos as old as Weeaboo's Screamer Cringe where the Muda laugh meme came out of. And then I was watching videos where apparently I was playing obscure Japanese PS2 games about bomb defusals.
Yeah?
And one of the reasons why I'm making this video is my internet just died. I think some drunk asshole ran into a data center and completely destroyed the internet, okay? I am loading pictures slower than the AOL dial-up days, which by the way is dying. So the thing about it is I played, an old PS2 game. I played some Grand Theft Auto, obscure Brazilian trash on the PS2. And I had a pretty good damn time doing it. Now the thing about YouTube is, one of the things that I kind of have noticed that I've done for the last 12, I would say 24 months even, right? Is, I've kind of went into this almost late stage capitalist mindset.
Good one, buddy. I got into this almost late-stage capitalism mindset. What?
One of the things is, obviously, I would say that I cover a lot of trending stuff. And in some cases, I definitely...
Okay, I see what he means. Never mind. I cover a lot of trending stuff. I get it. You cover anything that you can, anything that you can get your paws on to maximize the amount of revenue that you get to make money. Yeah. Okay? Problem? Big deal? I feel like anybody on YouTube who wants to be successful eventually has to cater to a level of mainstream appeal, so that you can get a lot more traffic and in turn get a lot more money.
Have probably fell into the over coverage of internet dramas, things of that nature. And I'm not gonna just say that I wouldn't want to cover something that I'm interested in, because generally if I'm interested in something, I'm gonna talk about it, as is what the point of a YouTube channel is. But watching a lot of the older stuff that I did, where I was hunting for Bigfoot.
I get the point that he's gonna make. I get the point that he's gonna make here. I, Mutahar, got too carried away by the YouTube algorithm trends and started making content that does not appeal to me because I got in the money grind mindset. But I loved how it used to be in the past with all my lack of worry, with all my lack of care for money. I want to go back to being a hobbyist, to being a regular schmegular dude, some ordinary gamer that used to play games for fun and just do YouTube for fun. Okay, whatever, dude. As if we haven't seen this by literally everybody in the past who has been accused of fraud and misleading their audience, scam them. As if we haven't seen this in like many apologies in the past. that is literally essentially what's going on here. I got too obsessed and carried away with making money. Now that I made all my money, I want to dial it back and go back to not making money.
Juicy. Read through it, do a little analysis, and then
get home from what, Mutahar? Good one. Get home from what?
Just kind of upload it. You know, I wouldn't say that any video that I've uploaded is like a technical masterpiece. It really is just like me putting together something that I find interesting and uploading it. And I feel like 2019, 2020, 2021 was probably like the best gosh darn era that I've actually enjoyed on the internet. I think that
it's the best. It's the okay. 2019, 2021, or 2020, 2021 is the best gosh darn era that Mutahar has ever enjoyed, because those were the first years that Mutahar actually started getting involved in the commentary community and getting involved in drama. That is why Mutahar enjoyed those eras of YouTube.
Any internet controversy discussion a lot more than, you know, the traditional standard stuff. That's just how the internet tends to work in that space.
No, I don't think his views keep dipping. It's too early to call. There's going to be some slow months where you just don't get any views at all. It's just how YouTube is. There's going to be times when you're going to get, like, you know, thousands upon thousands of views. There's going to be days, like times and days where you just won't get any views at all. It's just how it is sometimes on YouTube.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, shifting the shift of all my content to that was ever a good idea. And that's just one of the things where, like, you know, ultimately I want to kind of ask you guys, what really is it that you guys want to watch from like that 2019, 2020, 2021 era? You know, one of the things that, you know, I kind of have fallen into, and I think most creators can agree with this, I've actually talked to a couple creators like this, there's a mentality that happens to you when, you know, you make YouTube videos and you kind of run into this, like, snowball effect, where, you know, when one video style does really well, you know, you tend to do more of it because that's...
Yes, because that is what people are now tuning into you for, and if you don't give what the audience wants, they won't watch your videos. That is called... the meta. That is called YouTube meta. You would know this as a YouTuber. Like even the smallest and dumbest of YouTubers know this shit.
Really what YouTube...
Like there's a reason why his thumbnails and why, like, you know, his, like, content style is all the same and has been the same for the last, you know, several months, if not years. Him in the thumbnail, him in the thumbnail, him in the thumbnail, him in the thumbnail, him in the thumbnail talking about something, him in the thumbnail talking about something, him in the thumbnail talking about something. There is a particular strategy in meta. He's perfectly aware of it. I don't understand why he's attempting to pretend like, you know, like he doesn't know that this is how the YouTube game is played.
You know, as a platform, algorithmically, systemically actually rewards you for. But that's...
Yeah, no fucking shit, moron. It's called running a business. Like if I sold you Lamborghinis, and then all of a sudden the next day I start selling you Toyota fucking Corollas, you're not gonna come buy Toyota Corollas if you want to fucking come buy a Lamborghini, okay? People are gonna come to me for selling Lambos, not fucking Corollas. They, like, what? No, he knows this. As a CEO of his own company, he should know that this is how the game is played. And anybody who's like anybody who fucking runs a channel would know that, yes, you have to have a level of consistency. You always have to have, you know, deliver on the same product. You always have to provide the exact same fucking thing. If you don't, people are going to turn away. This is like rule number one of like building a consistent, like of building a channel, is consistency and delivering the same product. So if he's saying this, it's either to, like, you know, gain a level of emotional appeal to his naive audience.
You fall into the algorithm rot, and that's just you basically putting yourself into a corner. And that's one of the things.
Shut the fuck up. No, you're not. You're not putting yourself into a corner. It's called fucking business. You're making money. You're selling a product. Stop fucking, dude. Stop dude. This is so fucking dishonest and slimy. This is nobody's gonna pick up on it. But this is so fucking dishonest. This is so gross. Nobody's gonna look like none of it. Like nobody's gonna watch this and be like, yo, this Mutahar guy is just fucking like keeps lying to our faces. No, retard. No, retard. No, retard. You didn't back yourself into a corner. You realized that this was the easiest way to start fucking profiting off of a business that you've been trying to build for fucking years, and then fucking went full steam ahead. If that wasn't the case, in the past 5 years when you were creating drama content, you wouldn't have used your fucking authority. You wouldn't have used your credentials. You wouldn't have talked about all of these fucking places from a place of authority, or you wouldn't have talked about all these topics from a place of authority to get appeal. You wouldn't have involved yourself in the completionist drama. You wouldn't have involved yourself in the fucking Keffels drama. You wouldn't have involved yourself in the iDubbbz drama and done such a huge effort at making these videos. You wouldn't have involved yourself with Mama Max or any of these other things. You knew what you were doing. This is a fucking bold-faced fucking lie, and people are gonna eat this shit up because people are naive fucking retards.
That I've never really considered myself in. I've always considered myself to be like, you know, generally somebody that uploads a pretty diverse range of stuff. You know, back then it was like, you know, you talk about a creepypasta or you play fucking Revenge of the Sunfish or some crazy weird video game. And generally speaking, it's like I was never like the most, I would say, like viewed person, but it was like, you know, everything that I would just kind of post would generally appeal to this, you know, fan base that I would have. And I feel like, you know, in the last, like, what, 12, 24 months, I've kind of just alienated myself away from that. Now, I've been on, like, old Discord communities and fan communities of mine, just kind of talking to, like, older fans. And, you know, I've really come to this just realization that, you know, at this point, I have to stop.
I don't think that's true. I don't think he's been talking to older fans. I think he's bullshitting. I think he's been reading his fucking, like, you know, subreddit. I don't think he's been on Discord talking to anybody, because if he has, I'm sure that some of those, like, leak the logs. Leak the fucking Discord logs now. I'm sure we would have seen logs of you coping in fucking Discord, like, in Discords, okay? Leak the fucking logs. I don't believe this for a fucking second. I don't believe that Mutahar would go out of his way to, like, converse with random shitters on the internet.
Jumping into this, like, YouTube, you know, avalanche of, like, you know, algorithm-seeking nonsense, okay? I should just go back to what it is that I've done.
He won't. He won't. He won't. This is the second time, third time he's done something like this? Remember the first time he was like, I'm just not gonna cover drama. Second time, I'm just gonna stay away from the fucking, or like, was it Twitter? Whatever. I'm just gonna fucking conflate them. Second time was like, I'm just gonna get off Twitter because of the immense amount of hatred and toxicity. And then this time it's, I'm just not gonna cover anything that algorithm seeks because because you don't have the fucking balls to do so, because everybody knows that you're full of fucking shit and don't have the authority to fucking say or speak on anything because you're a fucking fraudulent liar.
Regardless of what it does to my channel or whatever going forward. The reality of this is this is not coming from a place of me wanting to go back to an older channel just out of nowhere. A lot of this comes from, you know, just me being upfront with you guys. I don't think I have much more time left in me. And I'm not saying that like I'm dead or something. It's just that
it just means that you do not have the capability to keep upholding this idea that you are an authoritative figure on the internet. So none of the words that you say, none of the words that come out of your mouth when it comes to any topic hold any weight anymore. We get it. You do not hold any weight anymore when it comes to any of these topics. Therefore, you have to regress into a former version of yourself that at least a small part of your community would appeal, like, you know, would like and enjoy.
For the last like couple of years, I really have just been thinking of retiring. Like, I really have just been thinking of like getting out of this and sort of like doing something else with life. And sometimes life brings in a lot of beautiful things that sort of take you away from the hobbies that you have. And I'll let you interpret what that means. But the idea is that, you know, my life is heading to a place where I'm getting older. I gotta be focusing more on things like family or something of that nature. So realistically, I don't really think that I have more than like a year, maybe 2 years of kind of making like, you know, the daily style of videos. That doesn't mean that I'll always like go away. Like, I think I'll always just kind of upload here and there. It's just, you know, there's gonna be a point where, you know,
there's going to be a point where you're not going to be taken seriously anymore. It's going to become significantly more obvious that you can't uphold this standard that you've like pretended to have, or these standards that you pretended to have for the past 10 years. You're going to be repeatedly outed as a hypocrite. Now that there's a lot of eyes on you, there's going to be a lot of people consistently holding you up to account because you're no longer this infallible figure. You get it. You know that you can't operate in the scene anymore. Because if you do, you're going to be picked at like fucking vultures. You're going to be torn apart by rabid dogs, such as myself. You understand that there are people a lot smarter than you and a lot more capable than you that are going to absolutely criticize you to hell and back. I get it.
I just do not.
That's essentially what he's saying. He's saying like he's pretending like he's burned out of creating algorithm slop. No, motherfucker. Because if that were the case, you wouldn't have been fucking, pretending like, I don't believe in rest days. I upload every day. I make videos every single fucking day. I get home, I open up Premiere, I start working on my fucking timeline, right? You wouldn't have been like talking that game to like Brandon Herrera and his friend, saying that you're like that you work every single day non-stop and you don't believe in off days. No, buddy. You don't get to conveniently say, I'm burned out now, even though it was only last year you were claiming that you don't believe in off days. You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that.
Post, multiple times a week. It's going to be a point where I'm going to post maybe once a week or maybe once a month. And it's sometimes maybe even less than that. Simply,
if that's true, he's essentially like allowing himself to become a dead channel. I don't think that this is going to be the case. I don't believe that he's ever going to allow himself to fall off like that because the YouTube money is just too good. The YouTube money is just too good. I'm sorry. I've seen analytics. I've seen analytics on like how channels like these perform. That money is way too good not to like bend the knee. I'm sorry to tell you. That's why I always say. That's why I always say I may be transparent. I may be honest. I may like, and if I can't be honest, I just won't say anything. I will like straight up tell you what my intents are, what my capabilities are, where I'm retarded and where I'm not. I will say, like, I will just be transparent with what, like, as much as I can. So far as it doesn't breach my privacy. But what I will never do is claim that I will be forever infallible, or that I will be forever principled, or that I won't buckle, right? I won't claim that, right? We're fucking people. Everybody has their limits, and everybody can be bought for a price. And as I've said before, I am not above making money or utilizing YouTube for money. I am not above, like, getting money out of YouTube. I won't lie about that, right? I've seen analytics for big channels like these. The money's too good to pass up, okay? The money is too fucking good to pass up. I highly doubt any of this part, any of this like video is sincere. He said at the end of his engineer apology that he might not upload every day. I know, but I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that. That money is too good to pass up. It's gonna like right now he's probably just a little bit stressed out because it like these next 2 months are going to be like, these next 2 months are definitely going to be what's the word, pirate software coded, okay? And by pirate software coded, I mean that Mutahar is going to continuously be clowned and be shit on by people around him now that there's eyes on him. As I said there would be. There's going to be people actively investigating him and looking into him, and they're going to find more discrepancies. He's going to be the talk of the town, and he's going to be really demoralized. And somebody like Mutahar is going to be like, oh, now that people are taking shots on my authority and my credit and my credentials and my credibility, I can no longer talk about these things because it just wouldn't feel right. Because everybody has like a limit. Everybody has like a moral limit of what they can and what they can't do. Like everybody has a subconscious where they just, sort of like take a moment to realize and be like, you know what, maybe I can't be an asshole today because people are catching on to my shit. You know what, maybe I can't steal from this baby because it would be too obvious that I'm like, hurting their feelings, right? Everybody has limitations, and that's what's going on with Mutahar. But wait until the heat dies down, and he'll be back. I highly doubt that he's actually going to stop. That money's too good, and I guarantee, and I just know for a fact, internally, I won't tell you how I know, because I can't justify why I believe it. But I just believe that Mutahar doesn't actually have a job outside of YouTube, and I don't believe that anything outside of YouTube that he owns or he does pays nearly as much as YouTube. So I don't think he's gonna stop anytime soon. I think he's doing this sort of like gain sympathy from his audience. That's what I believe, is that he's just doing this for sympathy, and he's trying to find any out. He's probably tossing this video out to like measure the waters and see how many people are going to be what's the word that I'm looking for? Accepting of a direction shift in his channel, so that he can then just start doing horror-related content or gaming-related content until his like views start slowly dwindling away. But the thing is, he can't Like he can't make a shift like that. He cannot make a shift like that because he would bleed viewership because that's not what people tune in for. That's not what people watch him for. It's gonna be a tough decision for him to make, but he's not going to transition full time to gaming content. I know that. It's just not, it's not in his best interest. It's not beneficial to, for him, even if he wants to claim that it is.
Because life takes you in a different sort of spot. But I feel like before that time comes, I kind of do want to just go back to a 2019, 2020, 2021 era Mutahar. I want to just kind of upload goofy what the fuck gaming style videos where I just play the most obscure shit for my channel. One of the things that I really loved watching was me when I had insomnia. I woke up at 3 in the morning and I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to help people relive PlayStation 2 Grand Theft Auto San Andreas Bigfoot hunting. And I did that. And I had probably some of the most fun during that video. Now the thing is, obviously going back to that style of content that doesn't, typically rely on trending stuff, obviously I'm going to just say it right now, going into the future, I don't think I'm going to perform as well, at least channel metric wise.
Yes, he does. He knows he's not going to perform nearly as well. He knows that. This isn't going to be long-lived. I highly doubt this is sincere.
And one of those things is obviously it's completely okay. I know that's outlandish. A creator should probably think of constantly upping and upping and upping and upping and upping the numbers until it reaches an unhealthy degree. And that is what it is. It's just unhealthy. This is not a capitalist situation where if you're pulling in, a million views one year, you should go to 2 million the next year, and then 4, and then 8, and then 16, and then 32. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you just fall into this psychotic rut, where ultimately your content suffers, you suffer, and ultimately, I would say everything just suffers at that point.
What are you talking about? What? What? Hello? What? What? What is he saying? What is he saying? What are you talking about? No. Maybe if your content is incredibly dependent on being maybe if your content is maybe if you were a consistent live streamer, maybe if you were a full-time live streamer, perhaps I'd understand, because you do have to have a level of mental integrity and stability to get on camera every day and perform. Yeah. I know on days when I'm extremely well rested, and I have topics, and I did research on topics the day before, the day after, the stream that I do is going to be significantly better than the one that I did previously, because I'm pretty inconsistent. Yeah, I understand that, but you record commentary videos on general topics that are trending, that people watch not because the topic is trending, not because the topic is actually interesting, but because it's you, and you've cultivated millions of subscribers that tune into your channel because it is you. But you're not it's not like you're gonna crash out on camera. It's not like you're gonna fucking crash the fuck out on a pre-recorded video. And if you do crash out on a pre-recorded video and then upload that, you're either, first of all, you're either completely fucking retarded and deranged, or second of all, you're completely out of touch with reality, which is kind of synonymous to number one. Or third, you're sympathy baiting. But realistically, if you're of sound mind, you're going to review that content. You're going to be like, wait a minute, that's not my best performance. Let's do it again. And then you'd probably sober up a little bit from whatever spout that you're in, from whatever downhill spiral that you went through. And then you'll upload a better video after re-recording it. And surely somebody of your caliber that can just, churn out videos on a daily basis could reshoot a video. I just don't believe this is the case. I think that everything about this video is just fucking dishonest.